Hello friends, this is Amrita and you are watching the channel Pankhudi Mehndi. This is Pankhudi Mehndi channel's 5th basic henna class in which I am going to cover the do's and don'ts for the very basic elements of the Mehndi design or just henna art. Okay, so the first element is the very basic element, it is a dot. Yes, so first we will see what not to do and then we will say what to do. Means first we'll look at don'ts and after that at do's. So while drawing a dot, what you have to do is the dot should be symmetrical. You know, when you are drawing a circle, if you see from the very center point of the circle, the radius, it is everywhere means symmetrical. Circle is always symmetrical. In the same way, a dot should be symmetrical. When you start drawing a dot, placing a dot, it should spread symmetrically from the center point of it. Okay, you might have observed in don'ts, no dot is symmetrical, but here in do's, all the dots, there are some small dots, some big dots. Okay, all are symmetrical. So how to draw it? So while placing a dot, what you have to do is touch the tip of the mehndi cone to the surface and lift it just a bit above the surface and press the henna cone. Hold the henna cone in a slightly tilted way. Okay, now the second element is line. So while drawing a line, one should never touch the tip of the mehndi cone, the henna cone, to the surface. While drawing a line, at the very beginning point, you have to touch the henna cone to the surface. You have to press it and then you have to lift a bit the cone. You have to lift the cone a bit and you have to draw the line. Just keep in mind that the pressure that you are applying on the henna cone with your thumb, it is constant. If it becomes less or more, there means you cannot draw a line with good finishing. Okay, so third element is half circle, semicircle. So the same way, a semicircle should be symmetrical again from its center point. It is the half portion of the circle. Okay, so in don'ts, the half circles that I have drawn are not symmetrical, they are quite asymmetrical. So in do's, you can see I have marked the dots, means I have marked the half circle with dots and then I made it. In the beginning, you can practice in the same way. So this is the way to draw a half circle. The fourth element is a circle. So one point that will constant be there is there should not be the friction between the surface and the henna cone tip. Okay, and circle obviously should be symmetrical, it should not be oval. Circle is not an oval. Okay, so you shouldn't do it, it comes under don'ts. And obviously you shouldn't rub it or you shouldn't cause friction on between the henna cone tip and the surface, the page or the whatever it is, maybe your palm. Okay, so this is the correct way to draw a circle. If a circle that you are going to draw is of bigger size, what you can do is you can mark it with the dots or you can use a very thin line and you can mark it and then you can draw the final circle. How to draw the final circle? Put the tip of the henna cone, touch it to the surface and press the henna cone and lift the henna cone a bit. There should be a little gap between the henna cone tip and the surface on which you are drawing it, and you should very easily draw it very slowly. Every drawing you draw with henna cone, it should be drawn very slowly. Next element is spiral. The point which comes under don't says the outer line of a circle or means the spiral should not be a standing line. The outer line either it should be parallel with the inner circle or inner line of the spiral, or it should end on the inner circle of the spiral. Okay, you can see it in the don'ts. And one more point, that is everywhere, it applies everywhere, that there should not be the friction caused due to the henna cone's tip. Okay, there should always be a little bit of gap between the surface on which you are drawing and the henna cone's tip. Okay, so the correct way of drawing a circle, this is anti-clockwise circle or spiral, and now I am drawing the clockwise spiral. Just do it very slowly, don't rush to finish it. Just okay, so don't rush into that. Everybody's comfort level is different. Some feel comfortable while to draw a circle or the spiral in anti-clockwise direction. Some feel it comfortable in clockwise direction. Whatever it is, you have to practice in both the ways. Okay, just remember the tips. So this is the correct way of drawing a spiral. Sixth element is frill. So the main thing while drawing the frill is the width and height of the frill. The frill element from start to end, it should be very much similar, or it should be symmetrical. Again, symmetry is the main point, and again you shouldn't rub it, the tip of the henna cone to the surface. It applies everywhere. I tell you every time that you shouldn't rub it. Okay, now how actually the frill should be drawn? Here I am drawing two horizontal parallel lines, and in those in between those two I am drawing vertical connecting lines, and now I will join two vertical lines with the small curves. Okay, so this is how a frill looks. But while we draw a mehndi design, we make a mehndi design and we make frill elements into that, we cannot always draw the parallel lines, the vertical or horizontal and then curves. No, this is not the right way. So this is the right way to draw a frill. You can directly try for it, but while practicing you can use parallel lines, and you will come to see in the practice sessions how to practice the frill element. Just remember the width and height of the frill elements is similar, all the frill elements. Okay, now when I draw a flower, these are the very delicate elements, frill elements, just call them petals. So I'm making sure that all the elements are of same width and same height. Okay, it looks so beautiful, and it's too delicate. You can see here. So I think you can identify the difference between the don'ts and do's, and the difference between the elements that I have drawn in these two sections, in don'ts and do's. Okay. Now comes the seventh element, that is the water drop or a petal. When we draw water drop, we draw it in a reverse way, means a sharp a part of the petal, it is upwards, and the wider part is downside, isn't it? Just it's of that shape, so I have given that name. Okay, so again, symmetry, this is the way that we shouldn't draw the petals. If you are using the petals, or you are making the petals, just remember the point of symmetry again. That should always be followed. The symmetry is very important while drawing the henna design. So this is the do's for drawing petals. There should also be some shading inside the petals. You will also come to know what kind of shading should be done and what should not be done here in do's and don'ts sections. Eighth element is thick line. One should never draw a thick line directly by pressing the cone. So what should be done? Always draw two parallel lines and then fill those lines later. This is the correct way to draw a line. This gives a good finishing to the thick line, and it is equal on all the sides, means it is symmetrical from the start to end. Again, thick line should be covered with the thin lines on both the sides. Okay, so this is the correct way to draw those separation lines, and not this way. One line should not be common between two thick lines. Okay, bye.